This video is about death metal and mountain water, which I know sounds stupid, but that's a $1.4 billion lesson in how to stand out in the most saturated market without any experience. Liquid Death is a water brand launched by an internet personality, and this brand went against the conventional marketing wisdom, and that allowed them to be a hit. Instead of clean logos, they use death skulls. Instead of hydration and wellness, they promote murder your thirst. And instead of athletes, they've partnered up with Tony Hawk and punk rock stars. Although whether a skateboard is a sport or not, that's a controversial topic. But despite all of this, they are on track to hitting $340 million in 2025, and they were just evaluated at a $1.4 billion business. And they're selling water. But to figure out why and what can this story teach us, we first need to talk about a fake restaurant, the Shed Effect. The Shed at Dulwich was a fake restaurant in the backyard of Uba Butler. And if you don't know the story, here's the quick recap. Back in 2017, Mr. Butler created a fake listing on TripAdvisor for a non-existent restaurant in his backyard. He wrote a description full of vague, descriptive words, things like mood-based menu and ambience-driven dishes. And then he took fake photos using household items, such as shaving cream styled as whipped cream, dishwasher tablets for texture, and he even colored his food to position it as a steak. Then he got friends to write fake reviews, and then for months he claimed that the restaurant was full of booked to generate FOMO. And guess what? Within 6 months, this fake restaurant became the #1 restaurant in London. Influencers, tourists, and even PR companies started reaching out. People begged Mr. Butler to let them in. Eventually, Mr. Butler opened the restaurant for just one night, and he served frozen dinners. This was a masterclass in something called positioning, which uses understanding of psychology that we don't judge things by what they are, we judge them by how they are present. And Netflix uses it left and right, and you will see it left and right too. Take Squid Games, for example. They've used the banner, which was the #1 show in 90 countries, before 90% of people actually seen the very first episode. They hyped up the show before it became a massive hit. Or take my favorite, Emily in Paris. Despite being heavily criticized, they leaned into escapism and every millennial's girl's summer dream, Paris, fashion, and of course, sexy Frenchmen. Is this serious cringe? Yes. Does it make you feel all good and cozy after you watch it? Yeah, I bet. But before you even knew what the show was about, what did you see? You saw a picture of Eiffel Tower, which clearly said Paris, and then a pretty girl. Sold. In marketing, we call this positioning. And this is what allows you to stand out in a crowded marketplace, charge premium prices, and create almost cult-like following of customers. The good news is you don't have to be a pro marketer to pull something off for your portfolio, even if you have zero experience. I'll show you how to do that using just your experience, ChatGPT, and a set of questions. But first, let's get back to Liquid Death and see how they use positioning to become $1.4 billion company that sells water. Mike Cesario launched Liquid Death in 2019, and in the first year, they already generated $3 million. Ever since then, each year, they grew between 12 to 26%. Now, this is massive for any company, but specifically for a company that sells water, it's insane. But actually, correction, they don't really sell water. What they sell is being edgy, being cool, being rebellious, and also eco-friendly. Because when you buy your $2+ can, in some cases $3 can, when you hold that can, when you take a sip of that water that tastes exactly like the tap water in your sink, you have the feeling of being cool, of being different, of being rebellious. And while you are drinking that water, when you're having that feeling, Mike Cesario is making millions of dollars. Right, so how can you use the same tactic to sell your AI businesses, especially if you have zero experience? To help you do that, all you need is 15 minutes, a set of questions, and ChatGPT. But before I show you, here's a quick warning. I've personally walked 800 people through this exact exercise. And for many, it blew their minds. Specifically, it completely destroyed their limiting beliefs. And it made them feel unstoppable in growing their online business. So use what you're about to discover with caution. Okay, so the first step here is to identify your strength. And you can do that either by asking yourself these questions or ask these questions of your friend. Questions are, what am I known for at work, or what do my coworkers or my bosses or even my friends come to me and asking, questions or advice? And what do people say that I'm actually really good at? Write everything down. The next step is to identify what are your wins that you've ever had, potentially, and ideally is within the work, especially if you're a tech. So think of these, projects that you've led, maybe projects that you work for, your part in that project and success of that project. What success actually was reached? What impact did it have? Did you save time? Maybe you boosted revenue, maybe improve results, whatever that is, write it down. And then once you have all of these answers, you take that and put it in ChatGPT. And by the way, if you haven't struggled with figuring out what you're good at, ask your friends, ask your coworkers. They will tell you. Ask them to be honest. Like, you don't want them to blow, stuff up your bum, but tell them listen, I'm trying to figure out something. I need your help. Could you please be honest with me? You'll be surprised. So once you have all of that, put it in ChatGPT and ask it to create a mini case study and a portfolio based on everything that you just told him. And voila, you have a portfolio that you can use that is different and is based on your experience. And now you can use it to present to your potential customers. Because the thing is, if you work for a company, you actually know how to work in the business, because any company is a business and they just hire you out. They are outsourcing things, paying you money. And that means that you have experience. So post your portfolios or example of portfolios in the comments below. I'll go through each of them and help you make it perfect. And by the way, if you're trying to make your first $1,000 online with AI service, you might want to check out this video.